I never expected one decision, one impulsive moment, to shift my life in such an unpredictable direction. My name is Valerie Mitchell. I'm a 38-year-old marketing consultant living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been divorced for about 3 years now. My ex-husband, Daniel, and I split on mostly good terms, but the silence that came afterward haunted me for far too long. My days were busy, my nights quieter than I wanted to admit, and my soul aching for something more. Something spontaneous. Something real. That's when I met Marcus. It started at a friend's barbecue one late summer evening. My coworker, Jenny, had invited me. I was reluctant at first, tired from the work week and not in the mood for small talk, but I dragged myself out the door. I didn't expect the backyard to be filled with so many people. It buzzed with music, kids running around, and the smell of grilled food drifting through the warm air. I was nursing a drink by the edge of the pool when he walked in. Marcus Bennett. Tall, broad shoulders, confident presence. His smile was electric, the kind that forces a reaction out of you even if you're not trying to give one. He wore a plain black t-shirt and jeans, but somehow, he stood out like he was meant to be the center of the room. Jenny introduced us casually, saying he was a close friend of her husband. We talked for a bit, about everything and nothing. Music, travel, even barbecue techniques. I laughed more than I had in months. He had this energy that made you forget your worries. I noticed how he listened when I spoke, how his eyes lingered not in a way that felt threatening, but familiar. Human. Honest. We ended up sitting alone under the patio lights. There was no flirting, no agenda. Just a growing connection that neither of us knew how to categorize. At the end of the night, he walked me to my car. I hesitated, keys in hand, and for a brief second, I wondered what would happen if I leaned in. But I didn't. The next day, I got a text from Jenny. "So, Marcus asked for your number. Is that okay?" I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Sure. Our conversation started slowly, texting about music recommendations, movie opinions, and life. After about a week, he asked if I wanted to grab lunch. We met at a downtown cafe. We laughed until my cheeks hurt. It didn't feel like a date. It felt like I'd known him for years. Over the next few weeks, we saw each other more. Walks at the park, late-night conversations, even grocery store runs. Still, nothing physical happened. I was waiting for a sign, something clear. He never rushed me. In fact, he seemed just as unsure of where this was going as I was. Then came the night everything changed. We were watching an old jazz documentary at my place. The room was dimly lit, and a soft rain tapped against the windows. At some point, I turned to say something and found his face inches from mine. He looked at me, really looked at me, and then said, "Valerie, I don't know what this is, but I know it's real." I kissed him. Not out of loneliness or boredom, but something deeper. It wasn't wild or reckless. It was gentle, almost reverent. That kiss led to more, and eventually, the night unfolded into something I hadn't felt in a long time. Connection, closeness, passion. We didn't just fall into bed. We fell into something that felt like it had been waiting for us. The next morning, he made us breakfast. We laughed over burnt toast and weak coffee. I watched him move through my kitchen like he belonged there. For the first time in a long time, I felt something close to peace. But the peace didn't last. That afternoon, he got a phone call and stepped outside. When he came back in, something was different. He looked at me with a complicated expression, then said the words that shifted everything. "I need to tell you something. I'm married." I felt like I had been slapped. His voice was calm, steady, almost too steady. "Her name is Nina. We've been married for 6 years. Things haven't been good. We've been separated emotionally for over a year. I sleep in the guest room. We barely talk. I didn't expect to meet someone like you." I stood frozen. "You should have told me." "I know. I wanted to, but I didn't want to ruin what we had before it even started." I was furious. Not just at him, but at myself for not asking more, for falling too fast. He left soon after. I didn't stop him. For the next week, I ignored his messages. I was caught between betrayal and understanding, between disappointment and some twisted form of compassion. Eventually, I texted him back. I needed closure. I needed to know why he'd allowed this to happen. We met at a quiet park bench. He explained everything, how Nina and he had been distant for a long time, how therapy didn't work, how they stayed together for the appearance of stability. He said meeting me made him realize how numb he had become. I believed him, but that didn't change the facts. I told him I needed time. He respected that. I thought that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. 2 weeks later, I was coming home from work when I saw a woman sitting on my porch. Beautiful, confident, composed. She stood up when I approached. "You're Valerie, right?" I nodded slowly. "I'm Nina, Marcus's wife." I didn't know what to say. My mouth was dry, my heart pounding. She didn't look angry. She looked curious. "I'm not here to fight. I just want to talk," she said. We sat on my porch, the awkwardness nearly unbearable. But she spoke first. "Marcus told me everything. And strangely, I'm not mad at him. We've both made mistakes. But I needed to meet the woman who made him come alive again." I couldn't tell if she was complimenting me or confronting me. "I just need to know, did it mean something to you?" she asked. "Yes," I said, without hesitation. "It did." She sighed, then smiled faintly. "I figured. He was different around you. Happier." I saw it even before I knew what was happening. I was stunned by her honesty. "I'm not here to ask you to back off or to plead for my marriage," she continued. "I just want you to understand that this, whatever it was between you two, it showed me that maybe it's really over. And maybe that's okay." We talked for another hour. About love, disappointment, womanhood. It wasn't hostile, it was human. Painful, but strangely healing. After she left, I sat alone on the porch, processing everything. I didn't know what the future held for me and Marcus. All I knew was that I had walked through fire and come out honest on the other side. Marcus and Nina separated officially a few months later. He and I kept our distance during that time. I needed space to rebuild trust, not just in him, but in myself. Eventually, we met again. Not to pick up where we left off, but to start fresh. As two people who had made mistakes, learned from them, and wanted to choose better. And while I'll never forget the chaos of those weeks, the shock, the guilt, the emotional roller coaster, I'm strangely grateful. For the growth. For the clarity. For the fact that sometimes, even the unthinkable can lead you to something unexpectedly real.